Hello, I hope everyone is doing really well. Today I brought with me Better Than the Movies by Lynn, which helped me escape my reading slump, so I'm going to recommend it for those suffering from a reading slump or those who want to start the habit of reading. I find that one way to escape a reading slump is to get an easy book that you can really just pick up anytime and anywhere. And by easy, I mean straightforward sentences and relatively easier word choices. I love challenging books, don't get me wrong, but sometimes when it takes you 10 minutes to decipher a page, it can really put you off reading. Also, those hard, thick books aren't exactly material that you can just flick through on the subway, in the car, or during super short breaks. So, this was the book that I actually bought and started reading for those situations. And I traveled to a lot of places with this book. This put me back into the habit of reading anytime and anywhere, eventually pulling me out of my reading slump. I think this was the first book talk or trendy modern book I ever read, and it'll probably be the last for quite a while because I'm more of a Penguin Classics type of girl, as you can kind of see in my collection, part of my collection there. But if you like romance and or need to get out of a reading slump, then this is the book for you. So, what is Better Than the Movies about? It's an enemies to lovers trope about Liz, a hopeless romantic, who is head over heels in love with this guy named Michael, who is a boy who has recently moved back to her high school. Liz and Michael were childhood friends before he moved away, and she sees his return as a chance to finally win him over. So, to get closer to Michael, Liz asks her next door neighbor Wes for help. And although Liz and Wes were childhood friends, they had grown apart over the years and weren't exactly on friendly terms. I really enjoyed the chemistry between Wes and Liz, their dialogues were really funny. One unique thing was that this book had a playlist at the end of it. It's right here. And I thought this was really cute and creative. To give some context, the main character Liz loves rom-coms and their OST. She even wanted to major in studies related to movie OSTs and stuff. Anyways, she loves making playlists inspired by certain people or events, and this playlist I just showed you is a result of one of her inspirations. I think this really makes the readers feel the firmness of this world because the author has to know the characters and their vibes to a really deep extent so that she can construct a whole playlist that suits those vibes. And it's that thought and detail that really makes readers more engrossed because if you look at the title of the playlist, it's actually the soundtrack of Wes and Liz. So the author has to know Wes and Liz, their vibes separately and their vibes together. And remember how I said Liz loves rom-coms or romantic comedies? This book cover was the result of that. So if you see here, each of these pictures is a famous signature scene from a movie. So, and then in the back, you can see the names of famous rom-com characters. If you look here, it says Bridget Jones plus Mark Darcy, which is obviously a reference to the rom-com and / book, Bridget Jones' Diary. And then here it's Liz plus question mark because, her future lover isn't revealed yet. And also, each chapter started with a different quote from a different rom-com, which I also thought was really creative and cute. So, for example, if I go to chapter 11, you'll see a quote from Love Actually, and it reads, if you look at it, I've got a sneaky feeling you'll find that love is actually all around. And it has a different rom-com and different quote for each, the beginning of each chapter, which I thought was really, creative. I haven't seen Love Actually, but I think I should. And also, I don't recognize, a lot of the pictures in the front cover. I recognize, a few, I think. Because that's from The Notebook, right? I'm pretty sure I remember this scene from The Notebook. It's, a really famous scene. But I think this is just, proving to me that I should read more rom-coms. One aspect I found somewhat disappointing was the characterization. This may have stood out to me more because the books I had read just before this were classics with very different stylistic approaches. But at one point in the book, the first description that we get of a character is that she is like Lorelai Gilmore, which is a reference to a witty character from the TV show Gilmore Girls. I feel the author should have added something else like witty and sarcastic dialogues instead of just directly comparing the book's character to a pre-existing one from a TV show. Because first of all, readers unfamiliar with Lorelai Gilmore would miss the intended nuance entirely. And secondly, even for those who recognize the reference, the character in the novel isn't truly identical to Lorelai Gilmore, making the comparison feel somewhat stretched. It just felt like the author was rushing to immediately engrave into everyone's minds that this character was Lorelai Gilmore, rather than allowing readers time to develop their own perception of the character over time. And as someone who reads books 30% for the plot and 70% for the language and style, I kept noticing small details like this. So I think this book is more for people who are looking for books with romantic plots and the anticipation that follows them, rather than intricate language and characterization. Oh, and also a little disclaimer, because on page 299 of Better Than the Movies, there is a spoiler about the ending to The Great Gatsby. This was very, 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 very lethal to me at the time because I read multiple books at once, and I was reading The Great Gatsby and Better Than the Movies at the same time, and it spoiled the ending of The Great Gatsby. So, future readers who are planning on reading The Great Gatsby and Better Than the Movies, I want to spare you of this spoiler. So remember, skip page 299. Overall, I hope this recommendation can help you build or regain a healthy reading habit. I'm going to post more of these book slump cure videos on my channel, along with book recommendation and analyzing books. So stay tuned, and have a good one, everyone.